This here is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and this here is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. The S24 Ultra is already running on the very latest update from November, from yesterday. You might want to check my video here, security patch level from the 1st of November, and also a lot of fixes around security. The S23 Ultra runs on CXi4 and the S24 Ultra runs on AXJB. But that's not the only thing. The S23 Ultra has been running non-stop for almost 6 days, indeed 5 days and 18 hours. And the S24 Ultra runs non-stop for 23 hours, almost 1 day. Why is it important? Because this might have an impact on the performance. What I'm gonna do in this video, well, I'm just gonna start a standard set of apps that I use on a daily basis, just to try to understand how big, or rather how small, is the difference in real-time operation between the S23 Ultra with the 8 Gen 2 and the S24 Ultra with the 8 Gen 3 before the next generation Snapdragon Elite built on 3nm process hits my table with the Xiaomi 15 hopefully next week or very soon. It's important to understand the real usage with some real use cases. I'm not saying that benchmarks and synthetics are not important, they are, but nevertheless, you are not running benchmarks every day for hours on your phone, you're just using apps on your phone. Also, something very important, let's try to check the version of the One UI Home 15.5.056 on the S24 Ultra and the very same version also on the S23 Ultra. So I don't expect any major differences. So right now I'm gonna try to close everything, no apps in the recent menu. I'm using 12 gigabytes RAM on both of my units, and what I'm gonna right now from the Memory Guardian, which is part of Good Guardians, I'm also going to clean up that sweet memory, just trying to equalize the settings. But remember, this phone is running non-stop over the last 5 days, almost 6, and this phone has been freshly restarted yesterday. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to close everything, and again these stutters, you see it guys, these things are real and they're driving me crazy. And now let's try to start the test by first opening this folder. All right, I'm gonna open Telegram. S23 Ultra was able to do it quicker. One more time, folder. Now let's open Messenger. Yep, I would say about the same. Now let's go and open Viber. Now let's try to open Facebook. I would say about the same. Now let's try to open X. I would say it's about the same. Now let's try to open Instagram. Yeah, maybe just a tiny bit quicker on the S24 Ultra. And now guys, let's go and let's open YouTube. Now let's open Google Chrome. Tiny bit quicker on the S24 Ultra. And now let's open my dialer. Yeah, I would say it's pretty much about the same. Now let's open Play Store. Kind of the same. And now guys, let's try to see what we have inside the recents menu. Let's try to close everything and repeat to see if we're gonna get any differences. And this time we can start with the weather widget. A bit faster on the S23 Ultra. And while we're on the widgets, let's try to open Spotify. Yep, tiny bit better on the S24 Ultra. Let's try to go back on the home screen. And now let's restart the test. Telegram. Again, faster on the S23 Ultra. Now let's do the Messenger. I would say circa the same. Now let's do Viber. Faster on the S23 Ultra. Now let's open Facebook. Circa the same. And now let's go and open X. I would say a bit the same. And now let's go and open Instagram. Circa the same. I scroll down. Now let's initiate a viewfinder. I guess still choppy on both of them. This is it guys, again, yet another annoying thing. Now let's try to open the camera. I guess the same. It's pretty much the same guys, like this phone is probably 85 to 90% the same. And now let's try to do something that I do quite often every day. So let's open Telegram, let's go to my saved messages. All right, let's try to send a picture. All right, send the first picture. Okay, kind of the same. No big differences between the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra. Now let's open a game. Yep, bit quicker on the S24 Ultra. Now guys, let's try to do this animation. And I do believe it is really awful on all these devices. See here. not so smooth. I hope that Samsung are gonna fix this. Now let's open the weather widget from here. And now let's start a 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme test. See what happens. How big that gap is. Because honestly, from what I see in the very first minute of the test is that for real use case scenarios like socials and apps and probably a bit of a camera, it might be that the S23 Ultra doesn't lag so much behind the S24 Ultra. And it's interesting to see when the S25 Ultra lands here, hopefully in February next year, how bigger that gap is gonna be, or rather like how smaller that gap is gonna be. But at least in the next few weeks, I'm gonna be able to show you Xiaomi 15 with the Snapdragon Elite so that we can at least see 8 Gen 2, 3 and Elite. And let's hope that the gap is bigger in favor of the Elite. And we do have the results, 3,809 for the S23 Ultra versus 4,500 for the S24 Ultra, so it is actually quite a lot, and I know that this device can really score more. Let's try to check the graphics here, and I'm gonna choose the temperature and frame rate. So this is the temperature, as you can see, going from 33 Celsius to 35 on the S24 Ultra and from 30 to 31, so definitely 8 Gen 2, just a bit colder than what I have here. The frame rates 17 to 28, 18 to 36, so definitely some gains with the 8 Gen 3 and the updated GPU. But what about Geekbench 6? And let me show you some of the historic results, because I have like an on and off relation with this. You can see here all my highest single cores and multi scores for the S24 Ultra. I did the first one immediately when I got the phone, and I reached some very nice scores, some higher scores through the time, some lower scores, and these are the results on the S23 Ultra. So guys, now let's try to go and run the benchmarks and see how bigger the gap here is gonna be, or how smaller the gap is gonna be. In this test, the S24 Ultra was quicker and also delivered high results. The single core score is 2100, and on the S23 Ultra is just a bit short of 2000. But the main differences and the huge gain here is on the multi-core score, 6500 versus only 5200. And I do believe that this is the main difference between the 8 Gen 2 and the 8 Gen 3 implemented in Samsung. And if you are an average user with socials and apps and occasional gaming and camera, this means that 80% of the time the S23 Ultra will be enough for what you do, and maybe just this 20% will require more computing, also faster and quicker GPU, and of course it's going to run better on the latest gen. This is not the latest gen right now because we have the Snapdragon Elite, but you get my point. A phone like this from 2023 is still going to be able to deliver that sweet result. Now let's check the camera. But you get my point here. A phone like this from 2023 will be still able to deliver great results. Now let's check the camera and the shutter speed. All right, this is what I'm getting on the S23 Ultra. Now let's do it on the S24 Ultra. Just a tiny bit faster here, which means again that even if you are a average to heavy camera user, the S23 Ultra will still get you going with 8 Gen 2 in 2024. And now that I have all these apps open, I want to do one final test, see what happens. So I'm going to open Telegram. See, even in this case, the S23 Ultra is just able somehow to be quicker. Now let's open Messenger. I would say about the same. Now let's do Viber. Yes, still a bit quicker here on the S23 Ultra. Let's open Facebook. All right, maybe S24 Ultra was quicker. Now let's open X. Again, the S23 Ultra just wins it, guys. I'm not sure what is going on here. This is the November patch. This is the October patch. And I just want to remind you that the S23 Ultra has been running for almost 6 days. And this phone has been freshly restarted yesterday. Now, I know that some of you will tell me that the phone needs time to align and this and that. But nevertheless, the 8 Gen 2 is still a great chip in 2024. And the S23 Ultra is almost a legend right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I would love to hear your opinion down below in the comments. Stay safe, VST over, and bye.